different than last year's, just by a little bit, so they're gonna talk to us about it in detail. Take the floor.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Rao. I'm the program director here at the San Diego State Doctor of Physical Therapy program. And as Gracie alluded to, there's just some important changes, not a lot, but important changes that we want to kind of express to you, as some of you may have already been looking at the website already, and just not, if you haven't gotten too far, you need to kind of go back to the website and reread. So we'll do a few of those things. How many are applying this year? Okay, so no, we don't need to do this. Well, I think it's probably good education for those who may be applying next year. Okay, let's do this then. This is good. Okay, go ahead, slide. So just to start off, we want to say that this is our 12th year here on campus. Out of, at least in 2020, out of over 250 accredited DPT programs, we're ranked 49th in the country already. That was back in 2020. We're hoping it's a little better in another year. Here in California, we're ranked number 4 behind USC, UCSF, and Samuel Merritt. Hopefully that will change a little bit too. And of course, with the CSEs, we're ranked number 1. Hopefully we stay there. So important things here. Again, we're nine semester model, full time. We get emails. Can we do this hybrid and everything? We don't do that. We are very traditional. We're very intense. So it's hard to do that. And we've learned that through COVID too. Trying to do a little bit of that was really tough. Our first 2 years are mainly didactic, and then you will do 3 or essentially 4 clinicals. One after your first year, you'll do 6 weeks full time, and then your last year is all purely clinical internships, and you'll do 2 8-week internships and then 1 16-week. And now it's worked with our director of clinical education, Dr. Pressure. Okay. Just for this stats here of our class at just our first years right now. Overall GPA was 3.79. As you can see, a range from 3.2 to 4.0, and that's usually around there. 3.31. We go usually the full gamut every year. Pre-rec 3.74. Again, very broad range there. So you definitely, as you'll see one slide here really quickly, that you have to have a 3.0. Absolutely have to have a 3.0. GRE, we still require the GRE. We have actually found it very important, and now I'm starting to hear from other schools that did not use a GRE, they're now reconsidering. So you might still want to keep thinking about that. But for us, for verbal, 154, 154 for quant, and 4.4. Again, good ranges, so you don't have to be perfect, okay? You just need to be, try to meet our minimum. This is usually a 4. A 150 and 150 are our minimums. If you're doing that, you're doing pretty well. Okay, thanks. Okay, what's this? Oh, very important slide. So, we open up October 1, Sunday. Is that Sunday? Sunday. We open up. The first part of the application is your Cal Apply. That is due December 1. So it used to be December 15th. December 1, so make note, that's 2 weeks earlier. And then our supplement application, which I'll talk about here in just a few minutes here, is now December 7th. That is a change. That used to be December 22nd, but it's the 7th. And then everything that's due used to be January 12th, it is now December 15th. So this is the university helping us move up our application. It's much similar to most of the schools in the country. Thanks. So again, you must have a 3.0 grade minimum. You just have to, okay? That's our requirement. It's also an agreement with our accrediting body, CAPTI, so we need to maintain that. And You go below a 3.0, you're on school, you're on probation anyways for grad school. So it's our minimum. What's important here? Okay. Same thing with prereqs, 3.0. You can go with that. For courses here, we're very traditional with everyone else. You're going to have at least 2 semesters of biology, which should be your basic intro, not the what I would call the low basic, but the basic one, and then any course above that must have labs. We will still take, if you took that course with COVID, only through 2022. So if you went into this last year and you were taking online, you're going to need to take it in person now. So it was only through 2022 that we were doing that. Same thing with chemistry, 2 courses. Physics, again, 2 courses with labs. Chemistry's with labs. Psych, 2 courses. Your basic 101, and then anything after that. What is usually really done a lot is abnormal or human behavior across the lifespan of child development. Stats, 1 semester. Then, oh my gosh, we're one of the unusual programs that ask for a course of English composition, because I need you guys to write notes to your doc and everyone else, so I need you guys to write. So it's an unusual one. Okay, thanks. Any questions so far? Okay. So, observation hours, minimum of 100 hours. Many schools in the nation in the last couple of years have been dropping this requirement. We are keeping it. We think it's super important to know for you to get out there, and it's for you to see if you want to be a physical therapist. We need to know that. So the only way we can get some idea of that is that you go out there and you go volunteer or work for someone in a physical therapy clinic or hospital or similar. 2 or more is preferable. But again, it's really for you to say that physical therapy is not all, sports medicine, or it's all not neurology. It's to get you out there and look at different things with physical therapy and make sure. Last thing I want is that we admit a student, and after the first semester, they decide that they don't want to be a physical therapist. And that's really terrible for us because we can't replace that person after the first week of school. Yes?
Is there an average of observation hours that people come in with?
Yes.
Is there an average of observation hours that people come in with?
Hundreds. However, because some applicants work on it for years in preparing themselves. But as Dr. Rao will say, our process is holistic. So even if you come in with 700, somebody that's at 101 could still gain acceptance over that person depending on the multiple settings and the remainder of their package.
100. We just need to know. And that's happened to us a few times over the 12 years. And so that hurts us really hard because I can't, unlike where you guys can, in undergrad where you can take a course here and there, and even in general graduate school you can take a course here and there. Once you start with us, you're on a train the whole way, and you stay with your cohort the whole way. Everything is just prescribed for you. You just take the courses and pass, okay? And that. So we really want to make sure you're doing that. What's also key with this is that, as you'll see when we talk about recommendations, going out there and volunteering allows you to get to know a physical therapist out there to write a letter for you. So that'll be important. Yes.
I was under the impression that you needed inpatient and outpatient. Is that still the case, or is
That's a myth.
Okay.
That's good. This is what this is about. It's a myth. It is good to have those experiences, but only one is sufficient. Yeah. So again, we're pushing you to go out there and do that so you can see a range of physical therapy, but you don't have to have both. Okay. Good question. Okay, so I already said this, still requiring GRE, and again, our minimum is the qualitative and cumulative of 300. The minimum writing score, we want a 4.0. There is now, as of this semester, a new shortened GRE, which is great for you taking the exam. but still, after you take it, it's still gonna be on the same score that analogous to the old one. So you'll still use this 300, points, or 150 to 180 point system with each one of those, and 0 to 6 with the analytic writing. So, and this stuff is always still on our website. Any questions with that? I know, it's a drag, that test. I wish there used to be another test that was much better, and we've looked into it, but it doesn't look very safe to take it, for students to take it. We don't know how reliable it is, but it's a really good one. So it is what it is, and you have to take it. Okay, next question, or next slide. Supplement issues. So we're gonna talk about some things that you will get through you're gonna go to Interfolio. So the first time you did grad apply, now you're gonna do your supplement, which is your Interfolio. And you're gonna download 4 forms, the prerequisite course checklist. So you're gonna type in all the courses that were prereqs, what grade you got them, what semester you got in them, how many units they were. We'll do that, and then your applicant volunteer and work experience, which we've already talked about. And again, here with this form here, maybe it's down there, I'll talk about it. Disclosure form, there's a lot of things we need you to disclose, that you're gonna be okay, that you're gonna be able to lift 10 to 15 pounds, and some other things just some other requirements that you will have health insurance throughout the program in case you get hurt and things like that. And this is, of course, in red, this is a really nice change that we're doing this year. So let's go ahead and slide here. Okay, so let's see, 2 letters of statement. Okay, so like how many, if you're applying on PT-CAS, most schools are gonna ask you to write 1 or 2 essays. We're no different there. What will likely be asked of you this year, what does becoming a physical therapist mean to you? No more than 2 pages. It's not a huge essay, just 2 pages. Second one is describe any significant challenges or hardships that you have experienced and overcome that has contributed to your personal growth as you work towards a career in physical therapy. So think about that, and you'll write there. Again, no more than 2 pages. Just an FYI, if you've already applied to PT-CAS and they have a question that's similar, generally like the first question, that's very similar to most programs there. Don't cut and paste from PT-CAS into ours. That's a no-no. Well, no, and we're gonna go, so it doesn't look good on.
So it's using GPT chat.
So, resume, this is super important. Your resume is really important because it tells us what you do, what you've done, what you're probably likely gonna do in the future. And so 2 pages only, but we're looking to see what things you like to do. Could be chess club, could be sports, could be other organizations, it can be your job, your other work experience. How many here serve tables? That's it. How many bartenders? Come on, that's it, that's a bartender. I will tell you, it's a good thing to become one, because that, you learn very good communication skills when you do that. How many work at like Starbucks? Just 1, 2, that's it? I'm not gonna get any free coffee here today. So, but those work experience skills, not just PT skills, are super important for us to see what you do, because you're interacting with customers, much like you're gonna interact with your patients, and that is very important. So if you're a food server, you know how to read, you gotta learn how to read faces so you don't get yelled at, right? Or working for that tip. But you're reading the faces, right? So those are good skills to get. Don't list 8 activities, because we have another form that you do that. So, and we know what aides are supposed to do, not what they might let you do that you're not supposed to do, okay? So, we're not the PT police, but there's a lot of things that some physical therapists allow their aides or assistants to do that they are not licensed to do. So, just don't report it, just tell us, we have a form, you tell us where you did that, what type of setting it is, and things like that. Okay. Oh, the video, I love the video. So, the video is 1 to 3 minutes long. It's another way for us to look at your holistic and well-roundedness. We used to just let you go for broke, and why do you want to come to SDSU, DPT? And now we're changing it this year. So, what makes you a good fit for SDSU, and how do your goals and interests match up with ours, and why do you again? So the first one's still very similar. The second question is, considering the demands and characteristics of being a physical therapist, please describe why you have a great potential to contribute as a future healthcare provider. So with this video, we're giving you the opportunity to sell your best side to us. But you need to answer these questions. If you don't answer the questions, you're going to lose things as far as that facet of the application. So, one reminder or one tidbit when you're doing your video: do not do a rap, okay? No applicant that's done a rap has got into the program, okay? Because how do you think we interpret that? Unprofessional, yeah, I thought they'd say something. So, we don't think you're very, very serious when you're doing that. So treat this very professional. Geez, you can go on YouTube or whatever, and see a lot of past applicants that put up their YouTube videos that they used for this, to give you an idea, so.
Also be aware of your surroundings when you're creating those videos. They don't have to be professionally done, they don't have to be in a dynamic setting. We're not evaluating you on your Pinterest ability. But after watching 400 of them, we start getting really nitpicky. And somebody can be in their bedroom, which is fine, with the mirrored closet doors, and their bed is all up in an upheaval with dirty laundry on it, and sometimes there's just a dog that's running back and forth, and now we're no longer hearing the applicant, we're just seeing the dog. We've also seen beautiful settings with the sunset with an empty 12-pack of beer on the table. So just kind of be aware of your setting.
I think the classic one is you're seeing someone in a parking lot. You know they're in a parking lot because you can see other cars parked, and you see cars passing by through the video, so they have their laptop while they're filming. So what we're looking at is, this is a last-minute thing for you. You're probably not taking this program very serious as the way we interpret it. So I would, work on it pretty good though. It's pretty important. This is an awesome way to sell yourself, because in interviews, main reason why we don't do interviews is that my experiences with it, and going to a lot of workshops and everything like that, in meetings, that there's no prediction between interviews or not going to interviews. So I'm giving you this opportunity to sell your best side to us. Okay, so the letters of recommendation, this is really important. So you have three recommendations that you have to have. One is from an academic, someone you took a course from in college. Another one is a licensed physical therapist that you did an aid or volunteer experience for, not if that person was your uncle, okay? It needs to be someone you did that directly. And then the third person, we allow you to choose who you want. But if it's a non-physical therapist or non-academic, if you had a job that you were like really killer, like your assistant manager or something like that, and they can show all your maturity on that, you can do that. I still always hedge toward making it an academic or a physical therapist, because they see you pretty good in the clinical or academic setting. But the other one is really good, so we do that. So in the past, what would happen is you go into Interfolio, you'll type the names and the email addresses that the people who will write a letter, they will get a link, they will write their letter, they'll upload it. This year we've changed all that. So this year you're gonna go down where you download the forms, download our recommendation form, because now they are gonna do some rating of you. And then there's some questions for them to complete as well. And in there, there's a block where they can cut and paste their traditional letter and put that in there. But they need to do all our ratings and answer these questions. It's not too long, because we know how much it will take of their time. And then they will upload that letter onto that link, and I'll take it to us. So that is just, that mechanism is super important to you this year. Okay. Oh, okay, cost. Oh, this is a great one. So in this day and age, we're one of the cheapest nationwide. Can you believe that? You get a really good education, and we're one of the cheapest. I know there's a lot of stuff that's been going here with the raising of tuition. Even with that, and I've already done the cost, and you can probably see it. Even with all that, we're still way cheaper than most PT programs out there. It's amazing how good it is. So for your whole, for all your tuition and everything, 9 semesters is $77,000, and then the cost of books, fees, and all that stuff, it comes to $91,000. That's a steal. I know that's a lot on you to go, whoa. But what you're buying, if you want to put it in those words, you're going to put a lot of effort. You're going to become a licensed physical therapist. You used to have a job for life, and a good job for life. And if you don't want to work for anyone else, you can still have a job by self-employing yourself. So there's a lot of ways you can do. A physical therapist is just a great job. There's just, you can do your full time, do side jobs on the side, make extra money. So this looks like a lot, but if you go cost comparison across PT schools, even in California, this is way cheap, and you're getting a good bargain. Okay, and the next one is, okay, if you're out of state, $141,000, because they have a per unit fee, and then times 121 units, so it's an extra $47,000. And then one more slide. Okay.
When you were talking about letters of rec, and you're referring to, like, if we had a really good position that we want to talk about, or like have our employer talk about, would that be, like, how does that look by comparison to an academic?
I think you want the best 3 people, at least 2 of those, academic and a PT. You want the people that can best advocate for you. So just because the person's the PT director of the clinic does not mean it's better than one of the staff physical therapists who knows you work with you well. What that staff physical therapist says is probably going to be to sell you is way more important than the director. So am I answering your question in a way?
Whoever's gonna speak in.
Whoever's going to speak up for you the most. Yeah.
I got you, thank you.
For one of the letters of recommendation for the academic one, can it be from a professor from classes took at community college? Or,
Yes.
okay.
It can be any course. Preferable, it's one of the prerequisites courses, but it does not have to be. Just someone that you've taken a course with that they're gonna rate you on this thing, so you guys will see the form, they're gonna see what they're gonna rate you on. And that should probably help you decide who you want to complete the form. Good question, yes.
What's the general timeline of when you'd start hearing back about whether you're accepted or not?
Yeah, so the good thing about all this, so we really hustled up until this last year. Our goal, and we were usually pretty good, we would tell by February 1st or 2nd. Now we should be telling by January 15th. So way early, yeah, before you have to start putting deposits down if you get into another program. Yeah, while you're enjoying, we're not enjoying, yeah. Yes.
So were you guys like a physical therapy aid that go under like observation hours?
Yes. Works the one the same. Good question. If you're not applying this year, stay motivated. Keep going with it. It's a great degree to get, great profession to get into. Yes.
You also spoke about 8 hours earlier, and like if you were allowed to do more than you should have been allowed to do. If it were an internship, that's okay to write down, yeah.
Yeah, so what I meant by more to do meant like you were,
Creating plans.
what's that?
Like creating plans. and
Yeah.
going through.
I didn't hear that, okay?
I was speaking for a friend.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you said, right? Yeah, that, cause it's not in the license. I know it goes on, trust me, I know, okay? But don't say that, we know that. Yes,
Are you eligible for in-state tuition for the DBT program if you paid out of state in your undergrad?
can you rephrase that again?
So I'm currently an out-of-state student paying out-of-state tuition for undergrad. If I graduate here, will I be eligible for in-state tuition for the DBT program here?
That's a
I
good
think you have to have residency here for 2 years, so are you using your parents' address, or are you using?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Because it goes by
what
that.
year are you right now?
I'm a third year.
Okay, my strong recommendation is either go to the registrar's office and they get the current requirements. And if this is a school that you definitely want to, consider going to, you may wanna go, and what Gloria just said here, you may, with your last year or two, you may want to go to mom and dad saying, I gotta start doing everything, car license, everything, do a part-time job, get residency here.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask because I heard that if you become an STC alumni, even if you're being out of state for undergrad, you become eligible for in-state. Or
You could if you become a resident during that time. And that's why I say go to the source and go to the registrar's office. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Really good question.
What are the scholarship opportunities like for the program?
Well, generally, PT students are, have good GPAs, and there is a lot of scholarships that go on here. So for once, this group this year are really applying, getting a lot of students applying for scholarships. But what we have, oh my gosh, this is the best program to go to, because what happens here by state, and as well as our sister programs at Fresno, Long Beach, Northridge, and Sac State. What happens here based on need, that when you complete that FAFSA, did I say that correctly? Okay. And when your guys' tuition comes in, they will automatically take a third off the total budget that comes into me, goes into a fund that based on need, you can get up to 1,000 or 2 off your tuition each semester. So instead of being like 8,600, it could be at like 7,000. I mean, that's even dropping it down. And guess what? It's free to you. No interest, nothing tied to it. You get off. It's really nice. Think about this though. One of the cheapest in the country, dropping it down a little bit here, you can still apply for scholarships. You can get a lot of this, paid off. Yes.
Is AP credit accepted for like classes like stat or psych?
Yes, you can. But what my challenge to you is if you did really well in that course, why not go take it for grade right now? Because it's gonna up your GPA for your prereq. So what happens is you don't get to use that grade, you just get credited that you met that prereq. but it doesn't work against you or for you. So if you're pretty smart in that, I'd go take it for grade to help you with the prereq. The other one I would say that I would say never do, we probably wouldn't accept, would be anatomy and physiology, because we need to know how you do those courses. Yes.
For observation hours, would it be better to have like 100 hours in a big variety of settings versus like 500 in just outpatient?
We want you to have varied settings, okay? So, again, if you have 500 one thing, I think you're pretty committed that you wanna go to PT school. Again, the varied part is for us to assess that you know there's different parts of PT that you may go into. That usually helps solidify your thing. Cause some people say, I'm not sure about this, I'm not sure if I like this neuro stuff. Well, it's a lot bigger than neuro, okay? We good? All right, best of luck to you this semester. Go Aztecs, right? All right, basketball.
We still have a presentation.
A little bit more. If you guys, people who don't have seats, we have some open ones so you guys don't have to stand. We don't have much longer, but we're just gonna do a little math to grad school presentation.
And then if you have any other questions, we'll give you a good email to ask questions about any of the admission stuff, to get that answered quick for you. Or you can ask us. We might not know the answer, but we can help you get the answer if you don't have it already. So yeah, if you didn't get the attendance when you walked in, get it now.
Come see me.
Yeah.
I can answer more than you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Alright, we'll have this up after meeting as well. Alrighty, so I have a few announcements, just regarding like point statuses and stuff. So if you have not, received the password for our membership tab and you have paid dues and have completed our application, please come speak to Grayson or Manon after the meeting. We saw there was a few problems with emails and they weren't sending through, so just please come speak to them so they can help you guys out. The point opportunity document gets updated with new events even when you guys aren't in meetings, so if you have access to that membership tab, keep an eye on it. There's events that come up that I or Gracie add on there that we give points for if you go to, so just keep looking at that. And then if you aren't in our group meet, I just added that. We will send like announcements, PT8 opportunities on there, so it's a useful place.
Also, if you guys want to sit down, there's like a whole row in front if you want to come up. Some more announcements. Adaptive Sports Physical Therapy is a newly registered org that provides weekly physical therapy sessions to athletes associated with adaptive athletics. They are currently looking for 1 to 2 undergrad students to be an adjunct of the board as a social media assistant. We're going to talk, we have previously talked about it, but we're going to talk about it more, of just getting involved and having a leadership position looks really good for applying to PT school. So if you feel compelled to do this, we have the link up here. We'll send it out in the group me as well. Great opportunity. And then we have a bowling night coming up. Oh my gosh, we had this last year and it was so fun. So I'm so excited for it. It's on the 12th from 6 to 8 p.m. Again, we'll have more info coming soon in the group me and stuff like that.
Alrighty, so as I mentioned, these are some of the upcoming point opportunities. I forgot to put this here. This is basically just copied and pasted from our point doc, but there's an info session for Chapman online. I think that's tomorrow night. The Leadership Center still has a few of those events that you can have a point for, and then all of these are those ones that you can get at any point throughout the semester. Art class, football game, group of membership in another RSO. We also added attending one of the Flying Sam's clinic. That's a great opportunity. That's happening in a few weeks in October. Observation hours, so just send them, you can send those in at any point in the semester. Just make sure that you've got them within the semester. So like CPR within this year or this past summer, observation hours within this semester, not like from previous semesters. Alrighty, so we're gonna be doing a little map of what you can kind of work on through your process to grad school. So I'll be talking about your first and second year. So for first year, make sure you're keeping up your grades. As Dr. Rao mentioned, those grades in your prereqs are really important, and it's a GPA that they're looking at. So like the PT programs really value those. Get involved. I mean, if you're here, you're already involved in one student org, but other clubs that might be interested in not as well like academic, you can be like just a hobby, and there's a bunch of clubs that you can join. Meet with an advisor to make a 4-year plan. I know a lot of the times it's just helpful to have someone reassure you that you're kind of going along the right path, doing the right classes, so you're not like taking a class that you just don't need, kind of thing. Reach out to professors if you need any help. Start, establishing like a relationship with them if you like and if you are interested in what they're doing. And then start thinking about where you want to do your observation hours. I know freshman year you might not have a car, so if you have a car or not, or how you're willing to get there, or maybe planning ahead for the summer. I think clinics always get a lot of volunteers in the summer, so reaching out early, March, April is better, so they can get you first. And then, during winter, summer, or wherever you want to do them. Then for second year, keep focusing on your prereqs. Maybe think about taking on leadership within an org that you're in, or even becoming an RA. I know a lot of orgs have like a lot of board positions, so it's nice that you take a lot of people and you can get that leadership experience. Your observation hours, start thinking about them, maybe start them or at least anywhere. And then, as Dr. Rao mentioned, different settings if you can. You don't even have to get a lot in one setting, but just trying to see the different fields of PT. And then start thinking about studying abroad. I know we have an international requirement, but it has been waived for people up till graduating in 2026. So you do have options. You can go abroad, you can take a class. So meet with the abroad advisors. They're there to help you, and they can figure out what you want to do and if you have something specific in mind. Try new things and get involved inside or out of SDSU, volunteering outside of the club itself or outside of school. Like I said, they have a holistic approach. They want to look at everything you do, not just your grades. So try to make time to do other stuff outside of school.
And that's pretty standard for, like, that's not just SDSU. Like, a lot of the programs, if not all of them, want to see, like, who you are as a person. They don't like judge you by solely just your GPA or just your GRE score. So that is not just important for here, but for all PT programs that you're applying to. And then for junior year, your third year, solidify relationships with professors, of courses that interest you. Getting a letter of rank from a professor can be intimidating and a little bit hard, but so like if you want to be a TA, great, like that's a great way to build a relationship so they get to know you more, can speak to your character a little bit better for that letter of rec. And if you don't want to be a TA or you don't have time, just like even just bugging them in office hours, like just so they get to know who you are, it's a great way. Great time to get involved with research. So if you're interested in research, I know that some PT programs value research a lot. So it'd be really good to put on your application. And this is a good time to just start thinking about it, if not participate in as well before things get crazy before you have to apply. Same thing, plan study abroad experience. So in year 2, you're kind of thinking about it. Year 3, you should start planning it and really decide if you want to go or not. Start studying for the GRE. If you haven't heard, the GRE is awful. It's literally terrible. But we have to do it, and you should do it, especially if you have to do it if you want to apply here. But most programs out of California don't require it. So it's kind of up to you whether you want to take it. I mean, it doesn't hurt, and if you're applying to at least one school, or if you're thinking about one school that requires it, I would just take it, especially since it's going to be shorter now. But I say start studying for it because you want to give yourself more time. Learn from me. Don't do what I did. I did it in 1 month, and it was terrible. I was 6 days a week and like 3.5 hours each day of studying for this. So don't do it. Spread it out. a lot of people use. It's super helpful. I did it and passed the first time, so even studying a month. So highly recommend that. And then start looking into PT programs that you're interested in. I know that that can be intimidating as well, but PTCAS, like if you search up PTCAS program list, it'll bring you to a website like where there's like a bunch of filters and you can say, okay, I want to look at schools in California that require the GRE. Or school, like, so you can filter it by state, by GRE requirement, by a whole bunch of things, and you can look, there's that list that you can just look at. And then we also have our grad panel in the spring. We invite directors like Dr. Rao to come in and give us a presentation kind of like he just did. Great way to get into relationships with those people and just to find out what other programs are like. Keep studying and keep your GPA as high as possible. I know that it gets tough around year 3, but they still, even though you're not like doing a lot of prereqs, it's still important. Your GPA is still important. And keep working on observation hours in different settings. So like if you've been volunteering or observing at one spot for a while, maybe start thinking about changing it up and maybe observing somewhere else. And then yeah, this is study abroad alternatives. On there it says August 2025, but apparently it's 2026 now. On like the picture thing. But yeah, so it's 2026. So yeah, again, for more information, we're obviously not experts at this. And I didn't actually go abroad, I just took a course, so definitely not experienced on like going abroad and doing that whole experience, so definitely talk to an advisor if you have questions about that. And then the last year, or your 4th senior year, whatever, it's application time. So PTCAS opens in June, and you want to start in June. Don't start like, even though it's summer, like it's so much easier to start as soon as you can. So you don't want to push it to the end and then you're like stressing about taking the GRE and then applying while you're like in school. Like, it's very hard to do. So do as much of your application as you can during the summer. It's super helpful. And this is, so like when application opens is a really good time to reach out to the people that you want as a letter of rec. And just say, hey, just making sure, like, is it okay if you write me a letter of rec? Give them a lot of time because they are busy too, and they also want to enjoy their summer, so just give them as much time as possible. And I would recommend taking the GRE in the summer, or earlier if possible. If your 3rd year is looking like pretty good, not too super busy, study for like a few months. I know that sounds really bad, but study for a few months and then take it, or take it over summer. Like studying for it and doing it during the fall of your senior year sucks, so I wouldn't recommend. Let's see. And yeah, SDSU's application, like Dr. Rao said, opens in October. So again, start early. It's pretty much the same lecture. Just start early, and if you're applying to schools that use PTCAS, remind them to save your letter of rec so they don't have to like rewrite a whole new one for SDSU. Sometimes they forget to save it, so just remind them of that. And then SDSU, like Dr. Rao said, doesn't do interviews, but a lot of programs do. And they'll start reaching out for interviews in January, or you might have interviews in January. So just keep your eye on that. And again, I think there's a filter on PTCAS whether or not there's an interview, but I can't remember. Yeah, so just, and that varies obviously, so just be organized. Apply to graduate. I forgot about having to apply to graduate, so just keep your eye on that. And most important, enjoy your last year. It's a beautiful place that we get to go to school here, so go to sporting events, go to concerts, go